Welcome to Trader of the Week with me, Zinati Guma. In this week's analysis, the JSE's Italtile, Thungela and Dis-Chem are in the spotlight. And joining us with his survey of these counters is Rob Pietropaolo, a trading co-head at Unum Capital. Thank you so much for your time, Rob. I was actually looking at the Italtile chart and I was quite surprised because sentiment had been it's always been good around the stock, as much as, fundamentally things have not looked good for the company, macroeconomic challenges, pressure on consumers, but there's always just this really great sentiment around it. And it was doing so well until recently when we had a huge plunge. What does that technical picture look like?
Yeah, look, I think the trading update was a bit disappointing. And obviously, given the current economic circumstances, I don't think people have the free cash flow to go and buy fancy tiles and bathroom accessories at the moment. But I think that picture is improving from a fundamental point of view. But there were some interesting developments just regarding the price. So we can jump into that chart. So the first observation I made is you can see that it did bounce off quite a significant support level, which I pegged at around $9, R9.05. So a very large bottoming out price. But more interesting is the way that it got there for me. So this is a bit of bargain hunting from my part, but just so that the viewers can understand what that big dip was. So last week we had a special dividend that they paid, which was 98 cents. And that explains that massive gap down.
Okay, because I was just thinking, I cannot explain this because what changed? I thought that maybe it's just a change of sentiment from investors, that maybe this is not such a great stock to invest in right now.
Yeah, look, as I said, I'm bargain hunting on this one a little bit. But again, so existing shareholders got to enjoy that call it R1 dividend, but then they had to suck it up and watch it go down about another rand. So this is where the traders jump in, given that big bottom. Now, for me, what's really interesting is that very last candle that we can see. It touched that R9.05 level yesterday and then had a strong reversal back up into the close of the session yesterday. So this is what I found interesting and probably a great opportunity to buy. We can also see, thanks to that dip in the dividend and the sell-off that ensued after that, it's pushed the share price into very much oversold territory. So I think this is an opportunity for those bottom pickers and the bargain hunters, and I think we're probably going to see that starting today. We might have already started seeing that this morning, but here's sort of the analysis that I've come up with. Again, I'm just pointing out how oversold the shares become over the short term, and then again, just that gap prior to the dividend. We're looking at a gap of around R1, but it did fall from around R10.70. So this is what I'm sort of aiming for in the short term, and it's not small change either. So if we look at this potential bounce, I really expect this to just go close that gap and then consolidate, because as I said, the existing shareholders got their dividend and then they had to go and watch it fall another rand. So we'll take advantage of that scenario as traders. Unfortunately, I don't think there's a derivative on this, but equity traders, if you're prepared to hold this for another couple of weeks, I think there's 14-15% to be made if we expect the stock to just go up and close the gap. So my first stock pick for the week is to buy today Italtile, if you can, at around R9.35. I don't think it's demanding. I don't think we're going to see R9 again because of the strong reversal we had yesterday afternoon. It was an early signal that fresh buyers have come into the share. So I think we've got to follow the money on this one, and just so we don't miss out. And again, I'll place that take profit at R10.70, and then stop loss is very easy.
Higher?
Well, if you're patient, I think you can go higher. We are in an interest rate cutting cycle, which is positive for the share.
And we're going to hear from the Reserve Bank on Thursday.
That's exactly right. So looking forward, I think the picture does get a little bit brighter. But for a short-term trade of the week type of idea, I think if you can hold this for the next 2 weeks, I don't see why you can't make or bag 14% on the stock for just for it to correct and settle back down to where it was before the dividend. So we're not asking for too much. And the stop loss, very easy. I did say now I might eat my words. I don't think it's going to see 9 Rand again.
9 Rand, yeah.
But if it does, that's your signal to get out, because then we don't know where the floor is.
Okay.
But I don't see that happening personally. So I do think the bargain of the week is Italtile for a 14% gain potentially on an equity basis.
And quite interesting that as much as fundamentally the environment is not supportive, the fact that they still were able to declare a special dividend really just says something about management and I guess the confidence that they have in the company going forward. All right, Rob, let's get into coal. Thungela, what are you seeing there? That one's been very, very interesting because, we know the normalization of the coal price that we've seen. I know there hasn't really been anything exciting when it comes to the coal price, and a lot of especially long-term investors have just been feeling a little bit wary over the coal price market. Yeah,
and we sort of saw the same thing with the likes of Exxaro.
Yes.
I think the heyday of the coal miners has come to an end. I know that they had extremely massive rallies about a year and a half, 2 years ago, with Europe snapping up everything we had they could possibly get their hands on. But again, very interesting price action happening here. To me, it feels like Thungela, it has been volatile. Let's not deny that.
Yes.
It has broken down, very bearish. But if you just look at the price action that's going on at the moment, it does look like it's trying to find a bottom. It's trying to find a base. And very interestingly, it's ex-dividend tomorrow for 2 Rand. So we might see a little bit of buying coming in ahead of the dividend, just to scoop that extra 2 Rand if you can. But again, if you look at that green line of support, I've pegged it at around 83 Rand 50, 83 Rand 60, where it keeps finding a little bit of accumulation or buying intention. So that's become a short-term support zone, and it does seem to be bouncing off there, and it does like that level. So what's very, very interesting is we saw the stock close yesterday just under 86 Rand. So if the share does drop by the dividend tomorrow, it does take us back down to close to that 83 Rand 60 support level. So there's 2 ways to play this.
Yeah.
We can buy this today and take the dividend, which we'll get 2 Rand out of that. We obviously have to adjust our stop loss if we do that, or we can wait till post-dividend and then try and buy it as close to that support level as possible. It does probably equate to the same thing. But again, if we just look at how oversold the stock has become, and just the fact that it's heavily oversold in the short term, but keeps bouncing off this 83 Rand 60 level. It really gives me confidence to just have a go at this one and see if this really is the consolidating price, and then we don't need to look for too much upside again. That's why I'm happy to go after it this morning at around 85 Rand 50. We'll watch it drop 2 Rand come dividend. But then I do think it makes its way back up to test that 50-day moving average. The stock does have a habit of hugging that 50-day moving average quite regularly. So again, it's really not an unfair expectation to see a test of that 50-day moving average, which is at around 93 Rand. And then the stop loss, again, very easy. A break of that support, I would give it a chance just because of the dividend tomorrow at 79 Rand. At 79 Rand, it opens up a lot more downside. So I really would be getting out really quickly if it does break that 83 or that 80 Rand level. Take your punch in the face if that does happen. But I see the stock bouncing off that support level as it has done for quite a few months now. And quite a healthy little profit in the short term.
That stop loss that you have at 79 Rand, is that if you buy the stock today, because you said that if you buy today, then you're going to have to adjust your stop loss, or if you buy it after, the dividend?
Yeah, so this 79 Rand is adjusted for the stop loss.
All right, okay.
So obviously it makes it a lot easier if you buy it tomorrow and it happens to get to below 83 Rand 60, you can adjust your stop loss by 2 Rand.
Ah, okay. Where it would be higher if you bought it today.
It would be higher, but I've allowed room because we're looking for just a short-term bounce back to that 50-day moving average at 93 Rand. It's not to say that the stock can't go higher. In my opinion, it'd probably get closer to the 100 Rand level.
Yes.
But short-term traders can't afford to be greedy. So when we see the money on the table, we tend to take it. So I think the first level of resistance might be that 50-day moving average just above 90 Rand. But I'm happy to take a profit of that size in the next sort of 10 days.
Ah, all right. Well, Rob, let's get to your last pick for this week, and that is Dis-Chem. This is actually one that we haven't spoken about in technical analysis in a while. Yeah, what's going on there? I'm not really clued up as to the price action that has gone on in Dis-Chem recently.
Yeah, Dis-Chem has been a notoriously difficult stock to pick. It does have periods of volatility. As we can see in this chart, we have big spikes up followed by, sort of big steps down, and it does tend to follow a certain pattern. So all these spikes keep getting sold off. But again, what caught my eye yesterday is the big reversal that we had. But we can chat it. There we go. So that candlestick, that big candlestick on the right there, that is the price action of yesterday. So that was quite a strong buying signal, or it just shows that new buying has come into the stock. But even more interesting, it found support at the 50-day moving average early on in the trading session and then carried on to rally on throughout the day to close even above the 200-day moving average. Now, if we just look at the bottom of that chart, also it's turned immediately, it's starting to turn out of that heavily oversold region, and it tells you the buyers are in charge, well, as of yesterday. So for me, that is a buying signal, again, to follow the money. And look, we're not trying to make 100% profit on short-term trades like this, but these are little opportunities that pop up, and you've got to be observant, and when they do arise, you've got to kind of follow them, especially from a short-term trading point of view. So if we just look at another interesting observation, as I said, all these spikes up tend to get sold off in steps, but interestingly, over the last 3 or 4 trading sessions, the price has managed to break out of this downward channel.
So is it a thing of as soon as there's buying, then selling ensues immediately?
Yeah, you especially with this stock, the minute it goes up sort of 7-8%, it gets followed by a week or 2 of selling and incremental selling. But the thing that I like about Dis-Chem is it's got a very, very big foreign holding.
Okay.
So again, we don't want too much here, but the interesting price action for me is the fact that it has now 4 days ago broken out of this downward channel. So it kind of is hinting at the fact that we might see the next spike up. So we're not, again, I don't like to look for too much. I like to take short-term opportunities, bank the profits, and then move on to the next trade. So, it closed yesterday at 33 Rand 30. We might see a little pullback purely based on the magnitude and the strength of the rally yesterday in the stock. You can see the big green candle there. It was really strong buying. So we might see a little pullback today into the close of the session. So if you are lucky enough to get it below 33 Rand, then this is the stock. I would be looking to pay 32 Rand 85, but I think I'd be happy to pay 33 just for that recovery bounce back to that 35.90 level where the selling tends to start taking place again. So 35.90, 36 Rand, you're looking at a 9 or 10% gain, and the stop loss, very easy, a break of that 50-day moving average, you're at 32 Rand. So you're looking, you really are cutting your losses at a 3 Rand per share.
Everything looks very tight.
It is very tight, and that's the nature of short-term trading. Your first loss is always your best loss. So discipline really counts when you're trading in the short term. And I keep saying it. This is called trade of the week, not trade of the decade. So So this is the opportunity I see for the week. These are three short-term trades that we've spoken about today. We're not looking for massive moves. We're just looking for moves in our favor.
Okay, and do not get greedy. That is what I got from you today, Rob. Thank you so much for your time and really a great technical analysis for this week. That was Unum Capital's Rob Pietropaolo. And that's all for this week's segment, but do stay tuned for lots more coming up right here on Business Day TV.